What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Ant, man. We're back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering this though. Why you should watch Gintama, my favorite anime of all time. So, to get started, what is Gintama? Or what is it about? So, if you asked around or if you maybe like skimmed through maybe something on the internet, most people might suggest that Gintama is just a comedy anime. It's just a gag anime, they just make jokes and everything like that. And I can understand why they might think that. It is very heavy on comedy, but I definitely do not consider it a comedy. I consider it literally just one of those ones that it has everything. Now it's labeled as a shonen, but it definitely does not give off any particular straight up this or that vibes. Obviously, the comedy is in there, and the comedy is heavy. Comedy is great, but the seriousness is in there, and the seriousness is great as well. So basically, this anime follows our four main protagonists, and there's a lot more other main characters, but they're kind of like main side-ish characters. But the main four are going to be Gintoki, Kagura, Shinpachi, and Sadaharu. Now that we've got the four main characters out of the way, so what is the story really about? Okay, so the story doesn't really have any strict goals like you want to be Hokage, the Wizard King, some savior or like hero, like most traditional shonen are. The main thing is that the story starts off with Gintoki as the main character. Like he is the top person. He's like the Goku. He's like the Naruto. So Gintoki is the main person. And at the time, at the start, he runs this thing called odd jobs, which is basically just what the name suggests. He does odd jobs. He gets paid to do whatever, pretty much anything. He'll take on anything. At the beginning, it's just him. Eventually, he runs into one of our other main characters in Shinpachi. Now he finds out, and so just to preface this, all of this is around during the samurai era. So, but the thing is, the samurais are banned. Like the sword is banned in the countries, so they're not supposed to be there. So what Gintoki does, he carries around a wooden sword. So Shinpachi, his father ran a dojo and owned a dojo, and trained people on the way of the sword. Shinpachi later on meets Gintoki, and Gintoki realizes, or not realizes, but he meets Shinpachi's sister as well, Shimura Te. And so the issue is that their dad passed away and was in super debt to a whole bunch of loan sharks and everything like that. So the dojo was basically like being held for ransom, basically, for them to do whatever they can. So his sister had to work as a hostess for all these other types of bars and clubs and whatnot, and these shady places just to make ends meet. And Shinpachi didn't like that, and basically he tried to save her, break into the place and help, and things went bad. Gintoki helped out because it's an odd job, so he got hired to do it. Little did he know Shinpachi wasn't going to be paying because he couldn't pay. So what Shinpachi did was say he was going to come work with Gintoki, and then boom, we have two members. The third member will be Kagura, who ends up being an alien young girl. I'm not sure on her age exactly, but they run into her, and it's funny because this is how the comedy is just always there. Their first meeting is Gintoki always rides a scooter, and he was riding the scooter, and he ends up running into Kagura, and basically he thinks he killed her. So he's just flipping out, and eventually you find out she's an alien girl. She's like super strong, like she's a part of a clan that has like the best fighting capabilities in all the world and the strongest people and whatnot. So she was fun, and she was in the middle of like something with a gang war or something like that. So Gintoki helps out with the situation, and then Kagura decides she wants to stay here and be a part of Odd Jobs as well because she likes it, and she doesn't have a home to really go back to because her family is pretty much broken apart. And then the fourth person, which isn't even a person, is Sadaharu. And as you've seen in the picture, he is the big white dog. And he is the best boy. Me being a dog person, that's the best boy. When I get another dog, that might be my next dog's name. But that's just what I'm thinking about doing. But he was pretty much just like a stray. He was a stray in a sort, just dropped off on Gintoki's door, an odd job's door, and he didn't want to keep it because the dog's massive. Why would you want to keep something that massive? But Kagura, being who she was, she convinced Gintoki to let him stay, and he became part of the actual main group. Another one of the great things about Gintama is the characters. Now, a lot of anime kind of usually might start with a whole bunch of characters, and then eventually pretty much only a handful of them actually matter, or only a handful of them are relevant at the end of the series, or you might not even see a majority of them. That is not the case in Gintama. Characters that you meet at the beginning of the story will still be there and still be relevant, even if you thought they were just some side character in like just a random episode, like slice of life episode. They will later on have a big impactful meaning later on in the story. So a lot of these characters will have their own backstories built in over the course of the series. Some might get thrown at you right away. Other ones might get thrown at you over time. And it's just like, that's what I love, is like all the characters matter at the end of the day. There's not really any character that you come across in these episodes that doesn't make a point later on. And the other great thing about it is all these characters have some type of trope or running gag. And some to be example is Kondo, which is basically the captain of the Shinsengumi, which the Shinsengumi is basically the police. So he is always being referenced and being made fun of for looking like a gorilla. He doesn't look like a gorilla. He looks like he's just a regular guy. But he's very hairy. But he's always been made, ever since his introduction, he's been made to be a gorilla. And even like some of his subordinates kind of like agree with it, you know, and it's always a running gag with him calling him a gorilla. Even to the point where there was literally a little mini arc where he was getting an arranged marriage with a female gorilla because there's a planet of gorillas and there was like a political thing. So he was basically going to be the arranged marriage to, you know, bridge that gap and make that relationship better. So, and then another one is Katsura, which he's labeled as a terrorist because he's still a samurai and he doesn't like the way the new government system is. But Katsura is one of Gintoki's best friends growing up. And there's a running gag, especially with Gintoki and Katsura, is Gintoki will always call him Zura. And Katsura's first thing, his always response is, it's not Zura, it's Katsura. It's not Zura, it's Katsura. And then like it's even some points where like he literally says Katsura, he's like, it's not Katsura, it's Zura. And it's just a running gag. And there's plenty of other gags and tropes that other characters do, but it's just it'll continue going down that path, and you'll always know like this character is gonna mean something or this character is gonna do something, you know. It's even like it's just you can't put into words how good it feels when you see a character in like episode 10 that looks like a random side character, and then they pop up in episode 300 and they're just having a very heartfelt moment and you really care about them because you feel like you actually know them and you've been with them for a while, even though you've only seen them a handful of times. Those handful of times have been very impactful. So one thing I've always noticed with certain series is they can never really differentiate arcs. Like obviously, like there are slice of life episodes, slice of life mini arcs. But one thing I've noticed about Gintama is they have a very strict, you know, separation between the serious arcs and the slice of life / comedy arcs. Now, even the serious arcs still have some hints of comedy, but it's never so much to where it'll take away from the seriousness of the story. You know, you'll have arcs that are so serious that you'll literally be bawling your eyes out, like with the Shogun assassination arc and the Farewell Shinsengumi arc. Those two arcs, and they come right back to back. I've rarely ever cried for anything that I've watched, but that stuff will like get you and be tugging at your heart. Especially if you're somebody that gets easily rattled with series that you get invested in. That stuff will really tug at your heart. And then there's other arcs where you'll literally be laughing your ass off and you're literally crying because of the fourth wall being broken. Like the fourth wall is destroyed in some of these comedy arcs. Like there's actually a character popularity poll, and it's where the characters are legit reacting to their popularity poll, the one that is made in real life. So if Kagura is rank whatever in the show, in that arc, she will be reacting like, I'm only this ranking, or oh man, I couldn't believe I was this high up, And it's funny because you'll see the lower people that did bad on the popularity poll, they'll plot on the people above them, and they legit will go out their way to try and take their spot from whether they embarrass them, like pull their pants down and make their popularity poll drop. And it was just funny because me personally, I've always loved the fourth wall being broken. And if you're a fan of like Deadpool or anything like that type of comedy, it'll really hit home with you. And one of the most important things for me is the ability to be able to connect with whatever I'm watching or reading. How can what I'm indulging in, how can that relate to my real life situations? How can it relate to my real life emotions? And I get sometimes not everybody wants to be in their feelings or feel some type of connection or having to even think about their real life situations when they're watching media, any type of media. But me personally, that's what I like doing that. I like being able to, I do like being able to escape into the show that I'm watching, but at the same time, I will pick up on things like, especially if it's something good. And what I feel like Gintama does very well is they do provide a lot of like good life lessons. One of the main things, a couple of the main things are like, no matter how hard things get, and like no matter how much stuff you lose, even if you lose what appears to be everyone and everything, just not give into despair and not like shut yourself down, because eventually you can find something or someone to latch onto and to love and protect, and that'll really go a long way. Another thing is to, no matter what, always try and laugh and smile, because a laugh and a smile will go a long ways. There's plenty of times where you might be feeling down, or you might be mad, you might be sad, you might be whatever, and something will make you laugh, and you'll notice like even though you might be still mad, even though you might still be sad, if it's a genuine laugh, you actually start to feel a little bit better, and that teaches you that and I feel like the comedy is always great, because like one of the characters is Hashigawa, which they call him Madeo, which translates to old useless old man, and that's pretty much like his name the entire time. He was basically a businessman, and he ran into Gintoki and them. He made a decision to believe his morals, and that ended up costing him his job, and he ended up being just homeless the entire rest of the series. And no matter what, so many bad things happened to him. Like, and he was a part of like so many like suicide jokes and just everything, where you would just think this guy is just like down in the dumps. He's just horrible, like luck wise, and that he just there's no hope for him. But one thing that stayed consistent with him is he always was the best person to other people. There was literally one arc where he met a kid that his dad was a drunk and was a fuck up and wasn't even there for him. And he was like saying he got to stay with the kid and his mom, and just like, just because he was sleeping outside in the rain, and they basically help him get on his feet. And then he gets ready to go to a job interview, and he's sitting in the hallway waiting on a job interview, and he's talking to this other guy that's next to him, and this guy's like, hey, yeah, I just got done with being an alcoholic. I'm trying to clean myself up and get this job so I can go back to my family. And then he finds out that's the little kid's father. And so he makes the decision to give up on the job interview so that the father can get it, so he can go back and be with his kid and daughter, or wife and son. And he's going back to being homeless. And that could be, and that's just like, obviously that's like just to the extreme, but it's just something you got to think about is like, if that ever happened and somebody did that, made that sacrifice, that's like insane. Obviously it's not reasonable, especially in the real world, but still, it's just something to think about. Like, no matter how bad things are, you can always feel some type of way, and you can always be better to people around you. And one of the main things, which is basic stuff that we should all know, is just make sure you're leaving a good imprint on people, when it comes to what memories people are going to have of you whenever you pass away. That's one of the main things. Like, there's a few characters that pass away, and it really hits you that they pass away. And one of the main things they show is just like the memories that they had of these people and how they cherish these people. And they're good ones. They're ones that make you laugh, the ones that make you cry, the ones that make you like, feel good. And it's just like, it's one of those things where you just got to make sure. It's basic stuff that we should all know, but sometimes I feel like we forget the things. So, seeing that in this series, and there's plenty of other life lessons I can touch upon. I mean, it touches upon like how slavery's wrong and all this other stuff, and discrimination's wrong and whatnot. But that's just some of the stuff. So with all that being said, I really, 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 really recommend Gintama. It is by far my favorite anime. I probably won't ever give that opinion up. I mean, I don't foresee anything doing it. The bad thing about it is it's decently lengthy. It's like 350 episodes, I think. And the last couple chapters are actually a movie instead of actually finish the series on the anime. So it was like it's 350 episodes and then like a movie. So, but it's well worth it. I really hope you enjoy it like I enjoyed it, if you can give it a try. And if you've already watched Gintama and you're just watching this video just to hear somebody else's take on it, write that in the comments, let me know. But like, hey, yeah, man, I agree with you, I disagree with you, whatever the case. And if you're gonna give it a try, maybe put it in the comments like, hey, I'm probably gonna give this a try, But whatever the case, just let me know. It'd feel good. I would hope something like I would be able to share like a good series like this with other people. So that's all I got for you guys. Like and subscribe, comment, anything. All right, y'all have a good day. Peace.